Have you lost your job? Have you lost a loved one? Are you exhausted caring for your parents, for your kids? Well, you can find immediate relief when you read Sheila Mac's new #1 bestseller, Bootstraps and Bra Straps. It contains the Boots formula to move from rock bottom back into action in any situation, especially right now. If life has knocked you down, pick yourself up with Bootstraps and Bra Straps. Get your copy at www.SHEILAMAC.com today.
Are you ready for a reboot? Welcome to the Sheila Mac Show, reality at its finest. History reminds us those hit hardest often become the change makers. This year, we've all hit crazy economic, social, and emotional rock bottoms. We all get knocked down. Something hits globally, locally, personally. It affects our health, finances, our relationships. We have to recreate a business or career. Each show, Sheila and her special guest will be sharing their reboot stories, guiding you with real solutions to upgrade and up-level emotionally, mentally, physically, spiritually, and financially. Here on NBC's KCAA Radio, Mondays at 1 and Wednesdays at 7 p.m. Pacific Time. If you're ready to pull yourself up by the bootstraps and bra straps, enjoy a listen. Here's Sheila.
Welcome to the Sheila Mac Show, reality at its finest. Here we have real people sharing real stories and actionable steps to help you reinvent, rebuild, and reboot your business and personal life on your terms. I'm your host, Sheila Mac, and today we have special guest Harry Askenazi. He is the owner and the founder of the professional acapella group, the Pella Singers, since 2011. And in addition to performing at 100 private events each year, they've been chosen to entertain at Citi Field for the New York Mets, at Google for their Hanukkah party, and other cool places. Throughout the years, the group has released catchy parodies of pop songs, one of which was watched over 200,000 times on YouTube. Their latest was released this week and is a Hanukkah-themed parody called Spin Dreidel to the tune of Dance Monkey. All right, welcome to the show, Harry.
Thank you, Sheila. What a great introduction. I couldn't have written a better bio myself.
And I would love to hear, maybe this show is based on my new best-selling book, Bootstraps and Bra Straps, the formula to go from rock bottom back into action in any situation. And this year, globally, we have had just about every situation hit us. And so I'd love maybe if you could share with the audience a time in your business or personal life where you had to overcome a tough situation and how you got back on track.
Sure. Well, I can't speak much to the bra straps part, but I can speak to the bootstraps. I think that the most recent example is probably the best one to give, which is, we, in addition to the parody videos, which you mentioned, which is more of just like a fun thing to do when we're not actually performing for events. We perform at private events, and these are special milestone events. These are once in a lifetime events, whether it be a wedding, a bar mitzvah, and you have to get it right. There's no second chances. And unfortunately, when COVID hit, basically every single party was either postponed or canceled. There was one family in particular who had a really hard time coming to terms with that. Their daughter it was a bat mitzvah. Their daughter had to postpone once because of a broken leg and a skiing accident. And so then they had to sort of now deal with the reality of postponing again. But we were at a loss for what to do. They were sort of asking us, well, what can we do instead? Like, we don't want to have to cancel the whole thing. We didn't want to be out of, the job either. We ended up coming up with a creative way to just do it over Zoom. And it certainly wasn't the same, but I think it was more memorable. We couldn't be there in person, either with the client or with each other, or the singers, but we were able to come together on Zoom. We did a pre-recorded montage video of some singing of the girl's favorite songs. We even incorporated her into the music video that we produced. And then we did a live show on Zoom, which ended up working pretty well. So, it started out as this thing where it's like, we're all thinking, well, what are we going to do now for the next, and as it became more real, and obvious that it was going to be a long time, what are we going to do for the next year, without any work? And we worked around it, and we thought of different creative ways to still keep ourselves busy, to still offer value to our clients, and to keep the party going, so to speak.
Yes, I always have this saying, music is key to the authentic soul, and we need music more than ever in this time. It keeps us happy. It changes our state. I mean, imagine you put on a happy song and you're happy, or a song that brings back sad memories and you're in tears in an instant. And so it's really important to keep those traditions going and to keep some music in our lives, especially now. And as much tradition as we can really helps us. I think that's the value of all our holiday traditions this time of the year, is that we have something that we can hang on to as a community, and that gets us through especially the hard times. And I almost think it was designed to get through the tough times more than the fun, happy times. It's just something that gives us the glue that holds our communities together is these times. And so it's really important. And if you're listening in, it's still, get in contact with your people in your community, or volunteer this time of year, because it's going to make a difference. I know for me, especially when I'm feeling down, I'll go through my phone and I will start messaging people. And I'll be like, let me check in on all my friends. And before you know it, within an hour, I'm having fun and connecting with people. And they're like, oh, I was kind of feeling down today. I needed to connect too. And that's one way to keep this going until we get to the other side, hopefully soon, the other side of this interesting pandemic. Yes. So I would love to hear about your song, and we will be sharing it. So what we'll do, we'll pause and share that, and then we'll come back, but we're not going to really share it on the live. On the live, it'll show up next, and then on the show, we're going to have it, so it'll come right now. So stay tuned, listen in. Here comes our Hanukkah song. So just listen in, and we'll be right back.
Mr. Dreidel comes alive every Hanukkah for his annual Mr. Dreidel show, but this year things are different. He is sad and doesn't want to perform for a virtual audience, but with a little help from some friends, he may just find the inspiration he needs to be the spinner he has always been and bring joy to all this Hanukkah.
Ladies and gentlemen, children of all ages, welcome to the first ever virtual Mr. Dreidel show. Let me hear you say Dreidel! Yay! All right, ladies and gentlemen, now we're going to bring out to you the one, the only Mr. Dreidel.
Aww.
No, Mr. Dreidel, we need you here to spin in person. 1, 2, 3, everybody say Dreidel!
They say, oh my God, I've seen the way you shine. When on Hanukkah you'd spin and dance each night.
But now that we are in unprecedented times, you won't spin for me, and man, they just stare right. Oh, need to see you smile. Maybe some candle light will make it bright. No, you still won't spin, and now I wanna cry. But there is one way you can help, it's worth a try.
Come on, kids, spin for me, spin for me, spin for me, slow, slow, slow. Show Mr. Dreidel that he doesn't have to do it all alone.
We say spin for me, spin for me, spin for me, hey. 'Cause shit or none, we'll play till Gamble comes again. Oh, it looks like Mr. Dreidel's about to turn. I hope a shin or none won't make him crash and burn. Just like the Maccabees, we can't give up the fight. Let's help our dreidel keep on spinning all 8 nights.
See him start to shine. Just keep on dancing, he'll be spinning mighty fine.
Oh, come on, just take a look, we'll show you how. Don't make us beg, just get up and try to spin around.
So we say, spin for me, spin for me, spin for me, so, so, so. Show Mr. Dreidel that he doesn't have to do it all alone.
We say spin for me, spin for me, spin for me, hey. Shit on none, we'll play till Gamble comes again. We say spin for me, spin for me, spin for me, so, so, so. Show Mr. Dreidel that he doesn't have to do it all alone. We say spin for me, spin for me, spin for me, hey.
I made you out of clay, and when you're dry and ready, oh, dreidel.
To hear about that song, Harry, how did you come up with that?
Sure. Well, so I guess where it starts really is just this whole concept of coming up with these parody songs to begin with. Like I mentioned, we performed at a lot of live events, but there seemed to be this like abundance of Christmas related songs out there, which admittedly are all great. I think I would say they're my guilty pleasure, but they're really, other than that famous Adam Sandler song from so many years ago, it really isn't much of anything out there. So, we said, why don't we make some Hanukkah related songs, jingles, and frankly, the sort of the easiest way we thought to get it out to the masses would be to take a popular song and sort of turn it into a Hanukkah related parody, which we did, I think, first in 2011, 2012, the first time. And then we did one each year for a few years, took a little break in between. This year, it just seemed right? Everyone had a little bit more time on their hands. So that was a good thing. And that's why we came up. Dance Monkey seemed great because it's just a song that everyone I know, would just request it left and right. And I just would always see at parties, people would get up and dance to it. I think it came out a few months before COVID hit. So I got a good chance to see like how people reacted to that song. So with that song was pretty obvious to us early on. There's a couple of themes to Hanukkah. There's the menorah, the lighting, the latkes, the jelly donuts, and the dreidel. And we thought, well, we want people to get up and spin and dance. So why not make it a song about spinning and dancing? So we titled it Spin Dreidel. It was clearly a little bit more challenging to film because we couldn't all be together. So we had to, everyone had to record their own video. We sort of had to ensure that, or trust that it would be okay, that their faces wouldn't be, cropped from here up. But we got it together pretty quickly, actually. And everything was just, everyone did their own thing on their own. They recorded audio on their own, which is really difficult. Usually you do it in the studio. Professional is, is editing, is recording you. We didn't have the luxury this time. So, but it came together quite nicely, I thought.
Wow. So you have really had a big shift in how you do your music, but it's changed. Now, do you think when things go back to normal, if they ever go back to normal, how you will incorporate some of the new things you've done now to your music and your work?
Yeah, well, a good question. I mean, I think the parody videos seem to go over well. So I think we'll stick with that. In terms of whether we'll continue offering virtual Zoom, whatever it may be, shows, I think the preference will certainly be, for in-person parties. But I think there's an interesting opportunity. Say you have someone who is bedridden or sick and they can't have a party in person, or maybe not even like a big party for a kid, but senior citizen, maybe in a nursing home who just wants to celebrate a birthday or an anniversary. I think, there's a whole potential new market out there, a way to get our music and our energy and our joy into other people's living rooms, literally, as opposed to just only being able to perform for people who have the means to hire us to bring us out to do a big production, right? Because that's the other thing. Not everyone has the means. Well, this, on Zoom, obviously it's a lot easier for us to be accommodating because we could just sort of just flip on a computer and go. So I do think there'll be, not just from us, I think a lot of new markets will open from this, but certainly in this sort of entertainment industry as well.
And are you still doing parties now on Zoom, a lot of them, or how is that going?
Not a lot, I think, because it took us quite a while to just, warm up to the idea. So we weren't promoting it. And frankly, the first one that came along, I was like, I don't know what we can do. But talking to the people, that's the other thing. Like, I run the company, but the talent is really with the guys and the girls who and the women who work with me. They all just kind of we brainstormed and came up with different ideas. And I think the one that resonated the most was like, especially for bar and bat mitzvahs, let's make a music video like the parody videos, and let's just let that kid whose day it is to shine film something, like we'll help direct it, insert it into the video that we've already made. Now they have this custom video for themselves. Now we've been doing more, and it's still not as busy as it was before. I think a lot of people just don't think to do this. But as time goes on and they realize that it's kind of this or not having a party at all, right. I think that they're more receptive to the idea. Yeah.
Yeah, I've had a few friends postpone their wedding a couple times, and then finally they were like, okay, we're done. We're done waiting. They already bought their house, built their house, whatever, and they just had their wedding anyway, and they did a virtual and a very small group, whatever, during that. It was really during the lockdown still, I think. And now we're going back to lockdown, so we may be having a little bit more of that. And I think about, okay, the royal wedding. People watched from all over the world. So when you think about it, it can be a bigger deal. And you can have family and friends from all over involved in your wedding that may not have been able to travel so far to be involved with the wedding. So there's different ways to look at it. And a lot of times you'll have family and relatives that want a really big wedding, and maybe you really wanted a small wedding. So that's another bonus. Yeah. So you
can have a lot more people, and you don't have to pay, for the catering for each one of them. I'll say weddings, sorry to cut you off, but weddings is actually one area where we have done a few in person. Like you just said, very intimate. So just close family, bridesmaids, groomsmen would be there. We would have a smaller band. We don't just do acapella singers. We have a band as well. So we would send a few musicians. They would all wear the face masks, be far away from each other and from everyone else. And it was a surreal experience. There's there's 20 people there instead of 200 or more. But now instead of 200, you have 600 because you have the ability to have everyone join in from Zoom. So I heard from a lot of clients that, yeah, it's really nice. Like, my second cousin who lives in a different country was able to attend, right? Because they were able to join in on Zoom.
Yes, I think that's going to change a lot, because now people that are in other countries that are relatives and friends, they'll almost expect that it's going to also be on Zoom or something. Even when it's back to normal, parties as usual, they're going to be like, well, aren't you going to Zoom it? Because I can't get here. So it's just going to be an entirely new industry for people, I think. So that's kind of fun. I like that. And I know for me, I actually work with people all over the globe now. So I have a group in South Africa. I have a group in Australia. I mean, like, I would never know these people. And now I work with them a few times a week, and it's like the middle of my night, 1 or 2 in the morning. So I have jet lag, and I don't leave my house or my studio because of the time changes, but it's wonderful. And we have these like agreements that as soon as the world opens up, I'm going to go visit them. They'll come visit me. And it's like, I already know all these people. So it's a wonderful thing that way as well.
Absolutely. Yeah. Well, I hope you follow through with that. It'll be great to travel the world. You'll need it. So.
Yes. And, I was really blessed. I traveled the world for 7 years straight. I did a lot of traveling. I did the Tony Robbins tours and all that. And so for me, 7 years of traveling, I never traveled when I was younger. And I had the opportunity to work and travel. And so I got the travel bug out. And I'm so glad I did. I mean, I rented my home out so that I really didn't have a home to go to. Right. We had tenants there that would help pay for my travels. And I had a blast. So I'm grateful that I got to see all the places. And I do literally have friends in just about every place that I miss now. And we're able to connect on Zoom and have fun that way. And now I've made even more friends. So that's really fun. And I think it's important because your music, now, where are you based?
I'm in New York.
Okay, so in New York, now instead of your music just being in New York, it's already being able to, on YouTube, it's being able to be global. And
that's right. So well, you mentioned travel.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry. I think I broke up. I thought you were going to go ahead. That's yes. One of the steps with Zoom, but otherwise, mostly positive.
Yeah, so but in a way, people that have never heard of your company, or you would have never reached out to that audience. Now you have a whole new audience that's global. So in a way, it's kind of a gift for your company, for Pella acapella.
Yeah,
I love acapella. Oh. The name. That's great. Oh, and yes, so yeah, so that's kind of, in a way, would you have reached out that way before all this, or were you already doing that?
Right. Well, we were already doing, the parody videos, but we weren't getting business from that. I mean, that was just basically an expensive, fun but expensive business card, is what that was. But what we were not, so we were fortunate to be flown out to a number of really interesting places, and that is one thing. You mentioned being able to travel. Like we actually were I always consider myself really lucky to be able to travel for work and get paid to travel for work. So we were hired to go to Cancun to perform. We've flown out to the West. Over to Israel and Europe. So that's one thing that, is kind of one of the downsides is not being able to travel. On the flip side, because we have this new sort of model of being able to, charge for an event and get business whilst doing it on Zoom, it's not as expensive as flying us out somewhere, obviously. So it absolutely opens up a whole new, set of people who now can hire this, I said premium group. And the reason I say that, New York, city is just naturally going to have a lot more talented singers than who can sing this kind of both, we're a Jewish acapella group for the most part. So like we're singing in Hebrew and English and Spanish. It's hard to find that sort of talent in smaller pockets and smaller cities elsewhere in other countries. So yeah, I think for someone to be able to, have a group like ours without having to, pay an arm and a leg because we're just doing it on Zoom, I think that's really cool for everyone involved.
Yes, that's incredible. So in a way, there's always a gift to this year. It's been such an interesting year. And if you're listening in right now, whatever holiday you are celebrating during this season, just celebrate as best you can and bring the music into it and share it with your family and friends. Now, Harry, you have a list of various music that people can listen to. How can people get in touch with you or purchase your music? How does that work?
Yeah, well, we actually don't have music that we sell. We have there's music available on Spotify. I'll tell you one thing that we've never really gotten our act together doing is coming out with like a real official album. That we do have a bunch of different songs that we've recorded over the years. They can find them on our website, PellaSingers.com. Pella Singers, plural at the end. All the contact information is there as well. Spotify, Amazon, if they just say play music by, I won't say Alexa first because she'll actually start playing it. But if they call that person and say play music by Pella Singers or Pella Productions, Pella Singers is the acapella group that's part of Pella Productions. They just say that, they can hear all of our music that we have available. We have a lot of pop music. We have some oldies. I think we have Sitting by the Dock of the Bay. What else? Some Sinatra. We have a really wide variety of music that people can listen to on the website and other places.
Now, and if they wanted to book you for maybe a Zoom wedding or party, how would they do that?
Yeah, everything on the website. Phone number's there. Contact form. They can do it on Facebook. They can do it on any of social media platforms. But the website, I think, is always the easiest. Maybe that's just me. I guess for the younger generation, not. But yeah, everything's on the website, PellaSingers.com.
Perfect. All right. Well, stay tuned. We will be back shortly. And thank you again, Harry, for being a guest on the show and bringing some holiday music to us. All right. Stay tuned. Thank you. If you are just tuning in, this is the Sheila Mac Show, reality at its finest. And we were just listening to a fun interview with somebody here, Harry, from the Pella group, and their fun parody about Spin Dreidel. So now we're going to continue with some more fun and interesting Dear Sheila's. Stay tuned. You are tuning in to the Sheila Mac Show, reality at its finest. Here we have real people sharing real stories and actionable steps to help you reinvent, rebuild, and reboot your business and personal life on your terms. I'm your host, Sheila Mac, and today we are celebrating the holidays, and we have special guest Harry from the Pella group, and they have a fun parody for the Hanukkah season, and we just enjoyed listening to that and his interview about how business has changed and music is now going all over the world globally with our new way of doing things this holiday season. Now, if you are tuning in, no matter what holiday you celebrate during this time of year, one thing that's really important that I always share during every show just about is that there's something that a lot of people don't know about, and that's that a program called 211. Now, 211, years ago we used to have 411 for information, and now we have 211. The 211, if you dial or Google 211 and your city, state, or province, so let's say 211 California, 211 New York, then what you're going to find is a list of resources. And this year, people that have never ever needed a resource need resources. And sometimes just being able to share that information at work, at schools, with family and friends that may be coming to you asking for help or looking for help. You know, a lot of our temples and churches are even closed or having their own problems. And so it's nice to have some extra resources. There's food banks, there's job help, there's help with rental assistance, mortgage assistance, there's mental health help for this time of the year. It's a hard time. It's not as festive as we'd like for everyone. Sometimes, especially this year, a lot of people have lost loved ones. And so it's really important to be able to connect people to those resources that they may need. So keep 211 in mind. And now I have a few Dear Sheila's to share with you. And if you have a question that you'd like to ask and have shared on the air, on the radio show, then send that in to dearsheila.com. That's www.dearsheila.com. And I'd love to answer some of your questions. So stay tuned. Here we go with some Dear Sheila's, and happy holidays. Volume 8. Dear Sheila, it's the holidays, and I'm dealing with an overwhelming sense of grief that is secondary to the loss of my family members that occurred during the holiday season almost 2 years ago. I'm attempting to resume my family traditions with a smile on my face, but my heart is troubled and sad. I'm grateful for the numerous friends and my support network that I am blessed with. However, I'm hoping that you can offer some insight and suggestions to help me keep my healing heart in perpetual motion this time of year. Thank you. Sincerely, Blue Christmas. Dear Blue Christmas, I'm so sorry for your loss. Losing more than one family member during the holidays is very difficult. I can't imagine. And one of the things that has helped me get through holiday seasons, because I've lost quite a few family members myself, was to change my holiday celebrations, to celebrate my loved ones that have crossed over in a different way, gave me a new tradition. And that may help you as well. I'm not sure how you celebrate your holidays or how you did in the past, but save a place for them at the table, maybe have a ceremony for them and send them love, and then stop and pause for a moment before you plan your holidays this season and think about what, if they were living with you today now, what would they want for you as your relative? What would they want to see for your happiest holiday this year? For myself, with my children, I think what I would want for my children is for them to continue to celebrate and live their best life every day, including on the holidays. And I would appreciate their memories and thoughts of me. So I think that may help, and just forming new traditions. Because whenever there is a life shift, whatever it is, divorce, or kids grow up and they have their own family units, they can't travel to see us, whatever it is, our holidays are going to shift over time. And grieving a loss of more than one loved one is the hardest, for sure. Yet these are things that are going to happen. And so to have a new form of holiday will make a big difference for you. I hope this helps. As always, I wish you life, love, laughter, and light. Thank you for listening to Dear Sheila, answering real questions with real solutions to reboot your life. If you have a burning question, submit your question now to www.DearSheila.com. www.DearSheila.com. Dear Sheila, it's the holiday season. This time of year is so hectic. I have a full-time job. I have children that are involved in extracurricular activities. Their father and I are divorced, but their father and I do not co-parent well. So it's a strain when their father and I have to be in the same room at our children's holiday school concerts, parties, and family gatherings. How can I manage my time with the kids, and how can I avoid being sucked into any drama with my ex this holiday season? Signed, Dreaming of a Peaceful Holiday. Dear Dreaming of a Peaceful Holiday, when you're co-parenting, there are two people, and so how you show up sends a tone for your children, and you know your intention and your tone. So how the other person shows up is not in your control except for how you're showing up. So it's going to help a lot. But if you have the other person who's going to still play games or act a certain way that you can't control, the best thing you can do is kind of plan ahead for if then else. So if you have some of those if then else statements prepared in advance, that's going to help a lot. So you kind of know, okay, with this other person, by their third drink, they're going to start saying rude comments to you. So, okay, at this point, I'm going to leave by their second drink. Or I'm going to go sit next to the other side of the family, or, and you're going to have 3 or 4 things you can do to stave off the actions or the drama that may show up that you already know is coming. And that could be with a co-parent, that could be with Aunt Betty, that could be with somebody else in your family, and it could be at any kind of a meeting, and you already kind of know, because you know the reason you ask this question is because you already know certain things always tend to show up at these meetings. So whatever you can do to plan ahead to change the state of the people in the environment, to change your location, or to remove yourself from that energy field, or have a different response, or reframe, or redirect the conversation, and you have that planned in advance, and then you know, okay, they're going to say this, and how am I going to let that affect me? How am I going to react to that? And that's going to affect your children, because they're going to go to the school ground, they're going to go other places, they're going to have friends do silly things, and they're going to say, hey, but you know what? That doesn't affect mom, so it's not going to affect me. So you get to be the parent that shows the other parent how to act. Dear Sheila, I feel like I always have to hide who I am around my family. I grew up with conservative Christian parents, and I'm afraid that they would hate me if they knew some of the sins I have committed. I had to move back home with them after college because I'm struggling to find a job in my field. I feel like I have to walk on eggshells around them because I'm afraid they wouldn't accept the real me. I'm scared if I confess the truth to them and the things I did in college, like drinking and dating casually, they would hate me. It bothers me that they weren't aware that I was struggling in college and that I was never able to talk to them about my depression. I'm holding my breath until I can afford to move out. What should I do? Should I tell them the truth and face the possibility of them hating me? Or should I keep the truth to myself to maintain the idea they have of who they think I am? Signed, The Mask. Dear Mask, well, the fact that you're sharing about taking your mask off is a good start. The reality is that your parents probably know the real you more than you think. Now, sometimes we go to college and we do things that other people are doing. So there's a difference between the real you and who you might have shown up as in college. So think about who the real you is and who you plan to be in the home of your parents. So in the home of your parents, because you're back there until you find work, I would consider honoring their rules because you're in their home. Just like anywhere else you go, you're going to have to live by their rules under their roof. But that doesn't mean you have to live a lie. You're now adults. So it may be that you kind of wait, or you may be honest. You don't have to share everything you did as an adult with your parents, but it might be healthy to just have an open and honest communication with your parents about things, especially things like a depression that you might be struggling with. These are parents that sound like they love you very much to open up their home to you and help you out while you're seeking your job. So it may be just so much easier to put the truth on the table, the truth that needs to come out to keep you on the right track with your parents at some point when you're ready. And it could be some of those things never have to come out to them. But the most important thing is that you're living your truth. And as you move forward, that you don't have to put on any masks anymore. So there's a point where we change our relationship with our parents. What happens with parents is if they did their job right, they just lost the most important job they've ever had. So they may overparent, and they may be doing this out of love and to protect you. And there's a certain point where you're going to have to change your boundaries, come out with the truths you want to, and you're going to move out on your own, and you're going to have your own truth and design your own life on your terms. And that's going to be what you're going to do as an adult. And so remember that they're losing their job, and so they're doing this out of love, but not knowing what they don't know doesn't always hurt them. But just keep in mind that the truth is going to be the best course of action at some point. I hope this helps. As always, I wish you life, love, laughter, and light. Welcome to Dear Sheila, answering real questions with real solutions to help reboot your life. How do I set healthy boundaries and say no without the guilt? Dear Sheila, I have been drowning in projects, volunteer work, and extended family daycare. Most of my adult life, I have had this habit of saying yes to things and then regret it. Now I'm overwhelmed, exhausted, and a bit resentful. Along with everything else, I agreed to babysitting my sister's 2 children, and somehow it's morphed into a regular, non-paid job. My question is it even possible to escape the volunteer workload I accidentally agreed to without having everyone be upset with me? Signed, Yes Mom. Dear Yes Mom, this is definitely the year for rebooting and reinventing your life. Remind yourself that each no is there to serve you and the bigger yes that you have for yourself. Let's run this situation through the Boots formula. Throughout life, one can find themselves facing a difficult situation that often catches them by surprise. Over the years, I saw the patterns in all the times I've had to reboot and in how I've helped my friends and clients get through a hard time and quickly back into action. Ultimately, I came up with the Boots formula. The B in Boots is for being. It is about who you are being in all that you're doing and who you need to be during this situation. Be aware of your feelings and think about people in your life that easily say no to things that do not serve them. Decide who you must be to lovingly and smilingly say no while moving toward your big yes. The first O in the Boots formula is for orientation. In order to get the outcomes you desire, you must be honest. Check in with any activity that is causing overwhelm. Write out your perfect day or week and see what you put on that list of things that you want to do. And then remember that that perfect day is a reminder of your big yes. The next O in the Boots formula is for order of operations. Now that you know who you need to be and your orientation, you can decide in which order you must take action. This may be sitting down and writing out a message or calling to say that at this time you must step down from certain positions. It is also having to talk with your sister about what days and times that you will be available for babysitting and when you will not, without an excuse or an apology. The T in the Boots formula is for thinking. This is where your mindset comes in. Stop waiting for that perfect time to stop doing anything that truly does not serve you. This week, be aware of each time you are compelled to say yes. Either say no, or just for this week, say, I'll meditate on this, or I'll pray over it, or I'll review my schedule first and get back to you. This will buy you that thinking time you need to remind yourself of your bigger yes. The S in the Boots formula is for stepping up. This is the part that puts all the other pieces you have planned into place and helps you now reinvent your life on your terms. The time is now for us to collectively work together to rebuild this year. My hope is that this video series and my new book, Bootstraps and Bra Straps, helps. In my book and on my website, I provide plenty of free resources for anyone dealing with a rock bottom situation to help reinvent and reboot their business and personal life. If you have a question for Dear Sheila, message me at www.SHEILAMAC.com. As always, I wish you life, love, laughter, and light. Dear Sheila, my mother has struggled with gambling addiction for all of my life. She has never been able to save or manage money, and she has been fired in the past for missing too much work because she would call out sick and then go gamble instead. She has not had a job in 10 years. Now my stepdad takes care of her, but she has been running him dry. Even though he works a full-time job, they are barely able to scrape by because she gambles most of his paycheck away. She has borrowed hundreds of dollars from me and will probably never be able to pay me back. My stepdad has a problem with saying no to her. He is in his 60s and has been having heart problems, and I'm scared that if something happens to him, she will become homeless. I am not in a financial position to be able to support her. She refuses to admit she has a problem, and I am afraid she will never realize that she needs help. How can I help my mother? Signed, a concerned daughter. Dear concerned daughter, there's a big difference between being concerned about your mother, who's now an adult, and enabling her to continue her gambling. It sounds like her husband, your stepdad, is kind of enabling her quite a bit. So the best thing for you to do is to understand that you have to have your own boundaries. Learning to have boundaries is very helpful. And then giving your stepdad and your mom the resources to help them. There's different programs such as Gamblers Anonymous and other resources out there to help your mom, but she does have to want help. And as long as your stepdad's helping her, she may just continue to spend his money or anybody else's money who's going to help her continue her habit. So she needs help finding new habits when she's ready. The best thing to do to help your mom, I would say, is start a savings program. Instead of funding your mom, because your stepdad is there helping her maybe a little bit too much at this point, start to set up a little fund where you just put so much away where if she does hit a rock bottom and gets into a help center or something like that at a certain point later in time, you're able to help when you really need to, and not in a way that would enable her, but where she could get help. And there's resources, there's Social Security, and different things. So your mom is most likely not going to become homeless. You have to decide how much you want to be involved and how much helping can hurt. Sometimes a person has to get to the point where they're willing to ask for help. And in order to do that, they're going to have to get to the point where maybe they do hit a bottom. And so that's a point where you and your stepdad could come together with maybe some other friends that your mom works with that know about her gambling, and do an intervention where you talk and discuss how you're going to loan money or not loan money, what you will help with, and how you can help her to get new healthy habits. Maybe she was a runner or a swimmer, or she was a dancer or singer. Get her back into her hobbies and let her find out that there's life outside of her addiction. I hope this helps. There's plenty of resources in my book that will help you find ways to give your mom and your stepdad more resources. Just remember that you're the healthy ones. You and your stepdad are the ones that are not in addiction right now. So stay out of enabling, and remember that being the healthy ones, don't let the person that's in the addiction drag you and your family, your stepdad, you and the rest of your loved ones down with you, because they will. They'll cost you everything if you don't take control. So remember who's in charge. You need to be in charge. You and your stepdad and all your loved ones, be in charge now so that you avoid your mom hurting herself later and hurting everybody else that she loves. If she was in her right mind, she would want you to help her and make sure that she would never hurt you or your stepdad. As always, I wish you life, love, laughter, and light. Thank you for listening to Dear Sheila, answering real questions with real solutions to reboot your life. If you have a burning question, submit your question now to www.DearSheila.com. www.DearSheila.com. All right, now we are back to the Sheila Mac Show, reality at its finest. And one of the things I wanted to talk a little bit about today was peace during the holiday. No matter what you're celebrating this holiday season, something that tends to happen around the holidays is we have family and friends gathering together. And this year we may not be able to gather as much as usual. And for some, that may be a relief. And for others, we are still gathering or modifying how we gather, maybe having a little bit of a smaller get together. And things happen sometimes. It seems like every time the family gets together or friends, loved ones gather, there may be those special people. You know the ones, the special ones that have so much love and light, but they also maybe are not bringing to the table the best energy. And I think this year more than ever, there's a lot more negativity going on. Maybe they disagree about wearing a mask or not wearing a mask, or whatever this universal pause may or may not be, or conspiracy theory, or whatever. Or it could be the usual. And so it could be that every year Aunt Betty or Uncle Bob or whoever always complains. They complain about the food. They complain about the people. If you make more money than you did last year, who do you think you are? Now you're making so much money. If you didn't make enough money, why didn't you make enough money? If you gained weight, why you're fat? If you lost weight, you're too skinny now. They don't like the hair color. You changed your hair color. Doesn't matter what you do. You changed your car. Now they don't like your car, but they didn't like your old car. So it's them. And this year, whatever that normal is for those people, and those people are those loving people that show up every year, the special ones that kind of bring that. And this year, I think it may be worse,
because people that normally are the safe ones are sometimes bringing that energy to the table as well. And that's whether you're sitting at a table in a group and your family is able to get together, depending where you live in the world, or if you're gathering online, or however you're getting together with family this holiday season. It's a sensitive year because we have all been through so much. And what I have found is there are two things that are happening. There are people that have realized what really matters most, and they have changed their song. And when we talk about music, they've changed the music, the song, what's coming out of their mouth, and they've stopped nitpicking about all these different things, and now they're really in a better space. And then there are people that have always been in a really good, healthy space that are freaking out this year. And so it's really interesting. You may just want to have awareness and bring that to the table or the Zoom call this year, and lots of extra love and light. Be prepared with boundaries, with if you need to go early, or if you need to, what your words are, that you know if somebody always says the same thing, what value you're going to give that, and how much value you give yourself, how much time they get to have out of your day, and how you can create a beautiful holiday season with or without those people. It may be that you have a wonderful family reunion every year, and this is a difficult year, and maybe you don't have one of those special people, and you have these beautiful family gatherings, and it's a great time. And this year's different because now you can't get together, and it doesn't feel the same. It doesn't feel the same. I mean, our churches and temples are closed. Many gatherings are not allowed or regulated now. Even homes are somewhat regulated. And so with that, I think it's really important to connect with your loved ones, bring music into the home. Think about the children at home, our elders at home, and how to bring the energy. Look at even this parody that we had, this fun song, how to bring the energy of the season into our homes, the good energy of it, and to really lighten up this time, this holiday and festival of lights, to bring that light in to our homes and our life again, while we have gone through such an interesting and sometimes difficult year. And that's going to make all the difference in the peace that we have at home, in our families, our communities. Our families, our children are going to feel this. Our elders will feel this. And it'll give them a sense of peace that is brought to the table. So when you think about that special relative that's negative energy that sometimes shows up at the table, think about the positive ones that show up, and how that also changes the energy of a holiday gathering. And think about what energy you want to bring to the physical table or to the actual Zoom call table, and how that can make a difference this year. And if you are home and need to create a different tradition, maybe do something a little different that this year, that's okay too. I mean, my family and I have had to do some different things because we are not able to all be together. I have 6 children, and 3 are in the military. So they're all out there, and with everything going on, it's a really busy year, and there's lots of restrictions and this and that. So we are not going to be meeting all together, and so we have decided to do things differently this year and create some new traditions around that, sharing videos and movies and Zoom calls and crazy fun things like that, crazy cards. And so that's what we're doing. And also be aware of your family, friends, loved ones, co-workers who may have lost a loved one or maybe going through a tough time financially or whatever this year, because tune into them, and even your strong friends, check in on your loved ones, because this is such a different year. I know for my family and we have lost my youngest son during this season last year, and so it is a tougher year for us, and we're keeping it a little quieter, but we're still doing our very best to bring the light in to our holiday and to really celebrate family. And I think that's something about when you do lose a loved one, that you realize what really matters most. So if you can't do gifts this year, or you can't do a big fancy meal this year, remember that we're going to have memories, and we're not going to remember all the bad parts. We're going to have silly memories about the masks, and we're going to have memories about how we got together, or how we did Zoom calls, and how we got through this very interesting time together in community and in freedom. Even if we are separated by the miles, we are still able to celebrate our love and light. All right, so happy holidays. I hope this helps. I also have a free gift for you. If you are looking to reinvent, rebuild, and reboot your business or life going into 2021, and hopefully we'll have an end to our pandemic and universal pause as well. But if you're looking to do a grounding meditation as you start your goals, and you're reinventing your business and your life now on your terms, which is a good way, or your holidays on your terms, then I do have a free meditation. It is called the Boots Meditation. It goes along with my new book, my best-selling book, Bootstraps and Bra Straps, the formula to go from rock bottom back into action in any situation. And this is a free gift for you if you go to Sheila Mac, www.SHEILAMAC.com and /Boots Meditation. And this is a free meditation to help you get grounded and prepare to reinvent or reboot your life, rebuild your life on your terms. All right, happy holidays.
Are you ready for a revolution? A revolution in consciousness? Yes? So join me on Sheila Mac Show and be ready to live a transformed life. My name is Miriam Magalhães. I'm a global master coach and a transformer of ONO Academy, India. And I'm looking forward to meeting you. Namaste.
Again, this is the Sheila Mac Show, reality.
Have you lost your job? Have you lost a loved one? Are you exhausted caring for your parents, for your kids? Well, you can find immediate relief when you read Sheila Mac's new #1 bestseller, Bootstraps and Bra Straps. It contains the Boots formula to move from rock bottom back into action in any situation, especially right now. If life has knocked you down, pick yourself up with Bootstraps and Bra Straps. Get your copy at www.SHEILAMAC
at its finest, and I'm giving you some homework. Grab a copy of my latest book, Bootstraps and Bra Straps, the formula to go from rock bottom back into action in any situation. That's right. If life has knocked you down, get ready to pick yourself back up and give